Welcome to Pages of the Past. I am your literary time travel host, Xena Arielle. Today we have an episode, just kind of a short review of a book that I did the first line test on. You may recall this video. I'm at the Dollar Tree and I am going to randomly pick up one of these novels and do the first line test. So the first line test is if I read the first line of a book and it grabs me, then it's probably something I would continue reading. So I picked up The Last Carolina Girl. We're going to see how the author starts this out. This is technically the prologue, but it's the first page. So, the last time Daddy and I stood at the ocean's edge together, there had been a storm most of the day. I have to say, this is pretty good. I don't know anything about this book, so I don't want to make a recommendation, but off the first line, I would definitely grab this and give it a try. Yes, this is The Last Carolina Girl by Meagan Church. And to start out, I'm just going to say, did it live up to my expectations based on the first line, or did it not? This book, unfortunately, did not. If I was going to give you the quick star rating review, I would have to give it a 1 star. I know that there are fans of this particular book out there, and there are fans of the author Meagan Church. So I'm going to say right away, if you love this book or if you love the author, I would love to hear your perspective, because maybe it just wasn't for me. Maybe I missed something. If I missed something, I would totally love to hear that perspective. However, diving into why I have to give this book a 1 star. First of all, the plot is not bad in and of itself. It is written in first person, which I love first person writing. I am a big fan, of course, of the Bronte sisters, and many of their novels are written in first person. So I love that, and one of the things that drew me to the book in the first line. However, the main character, which would be Leah, just did not attain my sympathies, which she should have, because she went through a lot in this book, but I never felt I could get close to her. And my biggest concern, my biggest complaint when it came to this novel was actually in the writing technique. And I will give the disclaimer that yes, I was reading Wuthering Heights at the same time that I was reading this book. So, in writing style, my brain has started to become rewired into classic literature. I've always loved classic literature. I've always loved big fancy words that I have to look up in the dictionary. So, take that into consideration when I was reading this. However, I did set Wuthering Heights aside because I didn't think that was quite fair to be comparing Meagan Church's writing style to Emily Bronte's writing style. I personally would not like to be compared to Emily Bronte's writing style. So, tried to give a more fair outlook. I buckled down and just focused on this book and really tried hard to love it. However, the writing technique, from my perspective, was very underdeveloped characters and over descriptive everything. I don't know how to explain that, but a good book, in my opinion, will paint an entire picture by an assumed statement. So what I mean by that is, don't tell me how she looked. Give me an example of something small she did, an expression, to convey her emotion in the situation. This book, every single movement that every single person made was explained to the point that I almost got distracted in some scenes. On top of that, I did feel like there was some predictability, a little too much predictability. There was actually a Cinderella story trope a bit in this book, which as I was reading it, I came across that part. I was like, oh my, oh dear, is this where we're going? So just forewarned is forearmed on that one. And I would say in my final element that put it as a 1 star for me, it would be the fact that this book was just depressing. Like, the topic, yes, was depressing. But I was even more depressed because no character reached out or stood out to be loved or even to be ultimately hated. And even with the villainess, the person I would call the villainess, she had no redeeming qualities. And in my mind, a good villain keeps you guessing a little bit, or has always this other side to give you a conflict of interest. Maybe I'm getting over the top, maybe I'm getting over technical. I don't know. But the book was difficult for me to get through because I did find it boring. I found it predictable. And ultimately, I did find it depressing. And this is coming from someone who does like the novel Wuthering Heights. So if that didn't depress me beyond what I could handle, then you know this was pretty depressing. This was pretty depressing for me. That said, now that I have sadly torn it apart, I'm sorry if I got too brutal. And again, if any of you are Meagan Church fans, if any of you have read The Last Carolina Girl, then please do let me know in the comments what you loved about it. Don't have to come after me with tar and feather. I will genuinely listen to your opinion because I would love to know it. But for my Pages of the Past audience, I'm going to have to give it a 1 star, and unfortunately it did not live up to the first line test for the rest of the story. So thank you for tuning in, and give me a like and a follow if you enjoyed this content, and if you would like to see the next book that I do the first line test and give you a review. Happy reading. But